So a couple of days ago, Bode sent me an email with the questionnaire. I'm gonna show it to you right now because I understand that some people are only watching this video because they're planning on ordering one themselves. So just let's get it out of the way. Now that those people are gone, my real friends and my real viewers. So today, I would like to provide you with some of the answers that I provided to Bode. We're gonna see how the team at Bode are gonna turn my answers into these illustrations, painting, drawing, whatever you want to call them. In the email, they didn't tell me like, hey, don't show these questions to other people. So I think it's okay, but if someone from Bode is watching and like I'm not supposed to expose all of these questions and answers, let me know. I would delete it. But again, I'm promoting you guys, so it's free promotion. 2,000 subscribers, but still free promotion. So here's what the email says. So Bode. Dear MAKASY, congratulations on purchasing a custom Bode senior court piece. Thank you. Which is about to be fully hand-drawn for you by one of our artisans in our Brooklyn studio. To begin the customization process, please find below a few questions to help our team learn more about you and the things most important to you. While we prefer to handle the customization correspondence on email so that everything is clearly outlined, we are happy to schedule a 30-minute phone call consultation if you would prefer. So I was a bit nervous about the phone call because that's how they phrased it in the ordering part. So I'm glad the phone call isn't happening, but also kind of sad that I don't have to pick it. It's like it solves a little bit of nerve, but I think if I were to want to do the phone call, it would legitimize this a little bit, to hear the voice of the artisan. Feel free to skip any questions that don't feel relevant to you. Okay, so segment 1, family and heritage. So with the name, obviously MAKASY, but I also told them, hey, if you want to add 2 plus sign, put my name between 2 plus sign, that'd be great too. I don't know if they're gonna do it, but I did put it in there, so we'll see. I also told them to do the same with the Bode logo. They're gonna want to put a Bode logo somewhere, but put 2 plus signs there. Where are you from? So on TikTok, I saw someone said they were born from Bogota, Colombia, and the team at Bode picked like a landmark that is, for the Bogota. So I was born in Phnom Penh, but I told them Uncle Wat because really that's what people know Cambodia for. And if they Google Phnom Penh, they're just gonna see a bunch of not traffic signs. There's no traffic signs, hence the traffic. What is your occupation? I don't care for this question, so I skipped it. Where are your grandparents? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to skip that question. This jacket is about me, all right? It's not about my family. It's about me, MAKASY Tan. What do your parents do? Nope, not answering that question. Where do you currently live? So currently, I am living in Boston, but hopefully I will move to Munich. So I wrote down Munich. So I don't know what landmark they're going to use. They're probably going to pick that castle, or they might pick the Marine's Platt. Significant other, I wrote my wife's name, Sita. Kids, I don't have any kids yet. I told my partner we gotta own a house first. I want to have as much financial stability as possible before I have a kid. Pets, what breed, what name, description. So I put the 2 dogs. One of them is Sam, my dog. He died recently, but he died of old age, so he lived a very good life. So I wasn't too sad. The other one, I put my partner's dog. Her name is, what's her name? Bonnie. I'm gonna get some heat from that. Bonnie. I put Bonnie in there, so she's very cute, and she does love me a lot more than she loves Sita. So those are the 2 dogs. Nickname. So I don't personally have any nickname for myself, but my partner and I, we call each other Honey a lot. So I suggested that to them. I also suggested that maybe you want to do like an illustration of honey, like go a bit further than just say the word honey. So whatever the team at Bode, this is the creative freedom that I provided to them. Family crest or multiple family names. So I'm Cambodian. In the 1970s, Cambodia went through this crazy war, and Pol Pot really fucked up my family, separated a lot of us, so we don't have a family crest or anything like that. So I told the team at Bode, use the information that I've given you. If you want to design a family crest for me, you can. If not, you can skip it. Any important dates and years? So there are 2 very important people in my life, and I put their birth year here. I will show you the result when it's here, and I'll talk about it more later because this video is already long enough. And names of important people. So I just wrote down my friend's name, my family's name, my significant other. I don't know if they're all gonna make it on there, but maybe they'll do something with the illustration instead of just saying MAKASY, Sita, John, Wilson, Alex, Jan, Sibyl, So I gave them a lot of creative freedom. I gave them a lot of liberty with regard to name. Just do whatever you want. Here's the information. If you want to do it, you can. If you don't, you don't. Next up, education. I just skipped this completely. I'm not one of those people that's incredibly proud of where they went to in high school or college. Okay, I went to North Quincy and I went to UMass Boston. This is my beautiful, beautiful jacket. I'm not gonna put too shitty school that I had to go to. I don't love the school that much to put it on there. This jacket is about me. It's not about my school. It's about me. Next segment, favorite things, sport team. So I grew up in Cambodia, and Manchester United did a really, really nice marketing campaign in the early 2000s. So if you go to Asia, there are a lot of Asians Manchester United fans because their marketing was insane. And then they were also good. They were also great under Alex Ferguson. I grew up in the era of Wayne Rooney, Michael Owens, Giggs, Ronaldo, Belvatov, and movies. I was really excited about this. I had some options. Obviously, I put down Before Sunrise and Before Sunset. By the way, I am planning on making a video about how I love those two movies. But I also love Christopher Nolan's, and one of my favorite films from him is Interstellar. I decided not to put Interstellar because I kind of want the team at Bode to just focus on the Before Sunrise and Before Sunset. I really want it to be a very focused jacket. I don't want it to be too messy, even though I want a lot of illustration. I wrote Rick Owens down. I had to put Rick Owens down. He has had a huge impact on me. One day somebody from Rick's gonna email me, "Hey man, we loved your video. Here's a 5-star hotel. Come to our show. Come meet Rick. You want to join the orgy?" So one day that will come true. It's called manifesting it. So, and picking a photo was tough. So there are a lot of great photos of Rick Owens, like the one of him pissing on himself, the one of him jerking off, whatever. There's a lot of beautifully weird photos of Rick Owens, but I went with this photo because that photo it speaks to me. It spoke to me. So I really liked that photo. So I told him to put it on there, and I have the jumpsuit, by the way. So the next artist, well, he's not really an artist, but his name is Albert Camus. He's a French-Algerian philosopher. He's the father of Absurdism. His quote of "one must imagine Sisyphus happy" has truly changed my life. The philosophy of Absurdism has truly made me a better person because life is really absurd. The world doesn't care. Nothing matters. Either kill yourself or look at life and see its absurdity and choose to make something out of your life because there was, and there will never be any meaning provided to you by the universe or God or anything. A meaningless life, a life that is not shackled by a purpose that was picked by some outside force for you before you were born, it's a bit scary. But the other side of that coin is there's no purpose, there's no meaning. So you can provide your own meaning, you can provide your own purpose. For the longest time, I've always asked myself these existential questions such as, why am I here? What is the point of this? What is the point of life? Why are we alive? Why are we clinging onto this life even though we know the end is death? Wouldn't it be better to just kill ourselves now and reach the end goal? If we look at the Christian religion, when you die you go to heaven. So why not just kill yourself and go to heaven now? Why waste all of these years living in pain, living with an earth that is filled with anger, is filled with sadness, homelessness, poverty, injustice, like all of these negative things on earth. So, and then with regard to the philosophy of absurdism, you realize that, okay, the universe has no plan for me. And when I realized that, life is a joke, but I'm already in it. Might as well make something out of it. Might as well do something while I'm here. The end is death. Everyone is gonna die, so no one actually wins in life. So just enjoy the ride. I know that's such a cliche thing, but it makes sense to me. Absurdism makes sense to me. So I gave them this photo of Albert Camus, and this photo haunts me, and I think I can safely say that he's my favorite philosophers of all time. And what he has done, what his words has done for my life has been great, has been nothing but great. So I wanted to pay my respect in a way to put this photo of him on my jacket. Works of art. So MC Escher, he's one of my favorite. His work, it fascinates me. His work fascinates me. I love imagery where there are more than one. Like two of my favorite works from him are Relativity and Another World. I will explain this further with how when we get the jacket, we'll see how the team at Bode translate this answer into an illustration. I'm very excited. Another thing I did was the Wasili chair. You know, you've seen it throughout my video. I have this deep fascination with chair and furniture, and the Wasili chair is one of my favorite. Furniture is just, it's a fun hobby to get into, but it's a very expensive hobby. Another works of art that I put down is this painting called Nighthawks by Edward Hopper. I love this painting. I can honestly say that this is my favorite painting of all time. It's so simple, but I can get really lost into the painting. It's just, I analyze everything about this painting. So if you're not familiar with Hopper, he was an American artist in the 40s and 60s. He was in this deeply loveless marriage with a girl named Josephine, but most people call her Joe. So their marriage, it was full of argument, fight, emotional and physical, a lot of arguments. He was a very conservative and stubborn man. She was a very jealous, controlling, short-tempered woman, and they were in this loveless marriage, but they just never got divorced. They just stayed there. They don't talk a lot. They don't touch each other a lot. If you look at the painting of Nighthawk, you can see the gentleman and the girl and the guy that look like they're a couple, but they're not talking. Also, another thing I want to tell you is that all of the females in his painting, he based it off of Joe, because she was so jealous. She wouldn't let him like find another muse to look for his painting. So every painting, every girl's in his painting, it was based off of Joe, especially even the sexy one. So I learned a lot about him. I learned a lot about him, his life, his art, Joe. Oh, another thing I forgot to tell you. He hates Joe. I think he hates Joe because he hated the fact that she was more successful. The reason he got famous was because she had all these connections to the curators and museum people. She was the one that got his work in front of the right people, and I don't think he ever forgave her for that, or he always felt like he was below her. And again, he was a very conservative man, so he didn't want his woman to be the reason for his success, and I think he resented her for that until he died. Even the name of the painting was actually thought of by Joe. She saw this man's nose, he said, that's a nighthawk. So that's how this painting name came to be. And with great art, in my opinion, with great art, it should make people wonder, should make people question things and just feel certain emotions or invite the viewer into their world. And this painting, it makes me feel super existential. It makes me feel super alone. I don't want to get into much. I feel like I already did, but I want to save this further. I want to know how Bode and the team are gonna use this template of the Nighthawks painting. Obviously, I think they're gonna change the title to Bode Cafe, stuff like that, and make it quirky. The next question is musician. So I put a lot. So first, Hozier. I can honestly say that Hozier has had the most profound impact on me musically. I think all of us know Take Me to Church, but I was introduced to his B-side by my friend Rita from Russia, and I have fallen in love with his music ever since. I sent the team at Bode 3 quotes that should be up on the screen right now, so I will explain this further because I don't know which quote they're gonna pick. I just said please pick one, because, or they might pick all 3 if they love it, if the 3 quotes fit into their narrative. Next up, Aurora. So I discovered Aurora about the same time as when I got into Absurdism. So Aurora has this carefree attitude about her, and I really admire her. I watched this documentary she did, just a short documentary clip, and this clip had a huge impact on me because it shows me that you can be yourself, and the people that wants to be with you, that wants to befriend you, they will accept you for who you are. And the stranger that are just giving you looks or just being nonchalant, like, it's fine to just be who you are in the wild, in the general public. It's okay to be who you are. And to see Aurora just running through the town hall, just being in her own world, it makes me realize that I can be myself too. Most people don't care about us. Most people are in their own world as well. And for the people that are judging us, they don't have anything better. But most of the time, 99% of the time, People have their own problem. People are living in their own heads. Every time I think about myself going to shooting B-roll, I think about that clip and just, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you do. Just do what you want to do anyway. Nobody gives a shit about you, MAKASY. Just do what you want to do. Kanye. I struggle with this answer because Kanye has had a huge impact on me with regard to music, with regard to fashion, his interests. I discovered so many artists and brands because of him when I was in high school. I knew of Hyder Ackerman through him. I knew of Demna Vetmont through him. Margiela because of The Mask. Murakami. His music are great. Objectively, his music is great. He has had a really, really rough time because of his opinion. I made up this arbitrary rule for myself that I will only listen to Kanye West music prior to 2016. So The Life of Pablo is the last album I ever heard from him. I was able to compartmentalize him into a box of 2016 below because I know a lot about fashion because of him. I know a lot about art because of him. To some of you it's gonna make sense, to some of you it won't, but it's my opinion, you know? That's how I chose to look at it. And we can all have different opinions and agree to disagree. We don't have to share the same opinion all the time. It's not a big deal, you know. I'm making this a bigger deal than it is by going on and on about it. So let's just move on. The next artist, G-Dragon. He has had a big impact on me. You know, we know Big Bang. We know how GD made K-pop cool in a way when a bunch of artists like Psy and a bunch of formulaic artists, K-pop artists makes the genre seems a bit too silly. So okay, but fun fact before we continue, in 2015 I listened to this song by Shannon Williams. It's on YY. That song got me back into K-pop, and then, you know, I discovered BTS, Zion T, Crush, Haze, Dean, G-Dragon, obviously Taeyang, stuff like that. So, and style and fashion, G-Dragon has had a huge impact on me. So I'm gonna go, okay, this is gonna be a bit dark or deep. So, you know, as an Asian person, we grew up with seeing a lot of white people on the screen. So I kind of looked at my race and myself as like a second-class citizen because I never saw a cool Asian person in TV. Whenever we see an Asian person in a television, in a movie, it's just, they're these dorky nerds. For the longest time, I always thought white people are just cooler than us because I never saw Asian people be cool in media. I was always a bit insecure about, you know, the Asian small eyes. I always thought, you know, big wide eye were cool. He has had a profound effect on me, and I'm paying homage to him in this way. I'm paying my respect to him by putting him on my jacket. Album. So I left it empty. I felt as though with the musicians I already did enough. So if they want to choose a Hosier album cover, they can do whatever they want. But the team at Bode has that liberty. I wanted to give them that creative freedom. So literature, books, poem, any specific quote. I am not a big reader. I hated reading books. I think it's an outdated device because I hate it when I read a book and it says, this guy was wearing this, the ground was wet, the earth, the sun was this high, it's raining drizzly, the food is getting wet, blah, blah, blah. All of that can be done, squeezed down into one frame of a video, one frame of a photo. So I hated reading books. I really focus on the latter part of this segment, which is the quote. So obviously I put down the one must imagine Sisyphus happy. I'm very excited to see what they do with that. I also suggested to the team at Bode, hey, if you want to illustrate, you know, Sisyphus pushing a boulder up a mountain, you can do that too, or do both. The next quote is I miss you even when I see you. That's a MAKASY original. You can Google that, nothing will come up. I've tried. That's literally what I came up with. I dreamt about it and then I said it. So it's a MAKASY original. And then I put down a few Hosier lyrics on the screen now, so we'll see what the team at Bode pick. Once we get that back, I will dive deeper into it. Other than the Hosier lyrics, I also wrote this down. I've said it a few times in my video. At the end of my videos, I say it's a bad day, not a bad life. And I think oftentimes in a moment of darkness, we forget that we're not going to feel this way forever. Similar to how happiness is not going to last forever. Sadness is not going to last forever. You have to know one to appreciate the others. Architecture. So I have had this deep fascination with communist buildings, this cold, dead, dreary vibe. So I grew up in Cambodia where there were a lot of communist style buildings. We grew up poor, so we look at these big tall buildings as like a sign of, if I had grown up in the Soviet Union, we would at least be given an apartment in this giant buildings, you know. So I always had a deep fascination with that. So instead of like my family and I living in one room, we would at least have like an apartment, because under the true communism Soviet Union style, we will still be at least given a house. There's this guy on YouTube, his name is Bode and Bankrupt, and he visited some of these old Soviet Union provinces or states, and some people will genuinely say they miss the Soviet Union because they were provided with free food, free housing and all that. But now that capitalism is in, some people have to live homeless, some people can't afford food. The next thing, the Eiffel Tower. Growing up, there has been a lot of films and TV shows that take places in Paris, and then you see the Eiffel Tower on TV all the time, man. As a kid growing up in Cambodia, you never think it was possible to go there and see it one day. So I am one of the lucky few to have been able to see it in person a couple times. The Eiffel Tower, it has a special place in my heart. Icons, childhood or present. So for this segment, I actually wrote a lot, so I'm just going to show you all of my answers right now. But we're not going to get into it. We're going to wait until the jacket comes, and then I will provide a backstory to each icon. Miscellaneous, favorite number. So I wrote 7 or 21, but I was a bit hesitant because I kind of don't want any numbers on there because it's not a big deal to me. But if they put the 7 or 21 there, it's fine, it's great. If it's there, it's there. 21 is my birthday. 7 is just a number that I've always been fascinated by. You know, 7 days a week, 7 colors the rainbow. 7 is just, the Buddha took 7 steps when he was born. 7 is a very sacred number. Next up, favorite meal. So I don't have one, but I put this snack, so the team at Bode can do whatever they want, but I believe they're just gonna change the logo to Bode or something, but they can do whatever they want with it. Favorite drink, I put down this drink. So this drink you can only find in Asia, specifically in Thailand and Cambodia. It's a Thailand, it's called Dutch milk. It's really good. If you ever visit Thailand, please try this out. It's amazing, and you can't find it anywhere. Trust me, I've looked. First, cars. So I grew up in Cambodia, and cars, they're not affordable. And you know, all of us when we were young in Cambodia, we dream of motorcycle. We call it moto. And when I was young, this Honda motorcycle, this Honda Dream, it was just the best looking motorcycle I ever saw. So that was back in like 2002, 2003. That was when I realized that motorcycle, you know, some of them are cooler than the other. That's when my brain would start to developing taste a little bit. Mato. In Cambodia, we call it Mato. That's how you pronounce it, Mato. The next question, favorite restaurant. I mean, I love Bonchon, but I don't feel strongly enough about it to put on my jacket. And I do travel here and there, not as often as I would like to, but you know, I do travel. And then memorable vacation, so it's a private one between my partner and I. So we'll keep that private between her and I. And if they show on the jacket, I'll talk about it slightly, but some things should be kept as private, and I think this is one of them. Favorite flower. So I put Monstera and the Venus flytrap. Monstera is it's a great looking plant, and I was really into plant a couple years ago. And then the Venus flytrap, it's interesting. When I first discovered Venus flytrap, to discover that you see this plant that is carnivorous, so like they eat bugs and all that. It was just interesting. I've always wanted to own one. Hopefully I can get one in my future home. Favorite animal. So I wrote down an owl. From a very young age, I was just fascinated by owl, the way they just sit on a branch and just, they're so still, they're so calm. And I don't know, I've always been fascinated with owl. And I don't currently have any tattoo, but when I was younger, I always tell my friends that if I ever get a tattoo, I will get a tattoo of an owl on my leg. So I'm just fascinated with it. So I also suggested to the team at Bode that they can replace the prototypical bird in MC Escher painting. I'll put it up right now, and put an owl here instead. So we'll see what I can do with it. And with regard to hobby, I felt as though I covered everything in the icon, so I didn't fill out any answers for this segment. The rest of the email goes, please note that because our artisans are exceptionally skilled at creating a cohesive aesthetic for each piece, we do not accept guidance on artwork placement. So this answered my questions I had earlier, so I'm kind of happy about that, but also kind of sad that I won't get the Hosier lyrics on my arm. But I trust them. I trust the team to do it tastefully. And what else would I have to say? So as all of our custom senior core products are done completely by hand, Please allow up to 10 weeks for your piece to be completed. We look forward to working with you on this special project and are excited for you to receive the finished product. If we can help answer any questions in the meantime, please do let us know. Best, Carly. So I actually found Carly's artwork and I really like her style of illustration. So I believe we're in good hands. I believe my jacket will come out nicely. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Next week, we're going to talk about first impression. That's going to be exciting. I look forward to that. I look forward to revealing the jacket with you guys, and then, you know, you're on this journey with me now. This is like our third, fourth video, so next week we can finally see how the team translate the words on this documentary, on this PDF, into these beautiful illustration, hopefully beautiful illustration. I'll see you next week. My name is MAKASY. Bye-bye.